Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dahlia. This is Novel Idea. I thought I'd come back doing the mid-year freakout tag. We're all freaking out over this. I realize it's late for me to be doing this, but honestly, who cares? Like literally, who cares? So I'm just gonna go ahead and dive into the prompts. The reason I should say I love this video. It's one of my favorites to watch, so that's why I am doing it now. It starts off with a bang, this tag, because it asks as the first question, the best book that you've read this year. It's going to be a toss-up between Gilead by Marilynne Robinson and White Ivy by Susie Yang. If anyone is familiar with either of these novels, they are vastly different books. One being Gilead is very meditative, very contemplative, somewhat plotless, but I absolutely loved it. And then White Ivy is a banger of a novel. It's totally got like this like full-on plot. It's more fast-paced, and I was also very much there for that. Both of these novels have stuck with me, like pretty much imprinted themselves on my brain, and so for that reason I'm going to choose those two as my favorites so far this year. Yeah, they're both great novels and I really highly recommend both of them. The second question is the best sequel I've read, and the answer is not a sequel. I have not read a sequel. So moving right along, I'm going to combine 3 and 4. This is going to be a very fast video, but I'm going to combine 3 and 4 because both of them are similar questions. Basically, they have to do with new releases that I want to read or most anticipated releases. I don't really keep on top of books that are being released. I just know which books I want to read. So this for me is nothing as well. Biggest disappointment of the year. This is a tough one because I'm choosing authors I love dearly. However, for some reason or another, both of these books somehow did not live up to the previous works of both authors. So the first is going to be Second Place by Rachel Cusk. So this book, I love Rachel Cusk. She is incredibly intelligent, articulate, insightful, but Second Place, I feel like she just got ahead of herself. It's like she couldn't help herself. Outdid herself in how pretentious she is able to be. There were times where I'd be reading some sentences and I had no fucking idea what she was talking about. I would be surprised to learn if I was the only one that felt that way. When she's of sound mind, she is of incredibly sound mind, but she kind of sometimes goes off into the deep end, and I can't swim fast enough to get there. So yeah, I don't know, Second Place, oof. On a very different level, Housekeeping by Marilynne Robinson. Having read Gilead and found it to be the most illuminating, beautiful book, Housekeeping was just a little too boring for me. It was just very boring. So yeah, probably not my best, Marilynne Robinson experience. Number 6, the biggest surprise, If on a Winter's Night, a Traveler by Italo Calvino. What a novel. What a wacky novel. It's just like, I can't even describe the experience of reading it. It was just such an experience. Truly it was. That was a surprise because I really had no expectations going into it. And I'm also going to say Long Bright River by Liz Moore, because that book, while not typically a genre I would normally read, so it's maybe more like, I don't know if it's like a mystery thriller something. There was some emotion and heart in that book, and the plot was really great, and the characters were fairly developed, and so I really thoroughly enjoyed that, and I still think about it. So I'm gonna also include that as a big surprise. Number 7 is favorite new author. So for me, like, I feel as though I have to say Marilynne Robinson because I've read 2 books from her this year. I have a third one that I'm going to read very soon. It's just the type of writing and the stories and the mood and the characters, like everything hits home, everything is right, it all feels right. So She's probably going to be my favorite new author that I discovered this year, and you should read her. Yes. I skip these questions every year. So favorite fictional crush, like why is that even a question in this tag? I don't understand. Favorite character, probably the main character in Gilead. He's like just like the type of guy that sits in his study and reads late at night and thinks deeply about things and feels. He's very, emotive, and just I love that. I love that kind of character. So yeah, maybe him. So a book that made me cry, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. That is a sad book, and I didn't cry, but I could see how someone would cry. And so for that reason, I'm gonna say the book that got me not closest to crying, but the book that would not be a surprise to me if other people were to cry would be that book. Number 11 is the book that made me most happy. Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. Is it a happy book? No. Was I happy reading it? Yes. I understood the characters, and in turn somehow I felt that the characters understood me, and that makes me happy. And number 12 is the most beautiful book I've purchased this year, and I have to choose Second Place by Rachel Cuss because I don't know who is the painter of the cover of that book, but it is truly stunning, and I appreciate it on an aesthetic level. Not that I have any qualifications to do so, but I can say that just visually it's beautiful. So that's my answer. The last prompt is books to read by the end of the year, or books I must read by the end of the year. I would like to stick to authors I know and love. I would love to read more Ferrante. I have not read her new book, but I also want to read some of her older stuff. I think some of Rachel Cusk's nonfiction, maybe some Deborah Levy, like stuff like that. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're all doing well, and thank you so much for watching.